on St David's Day. So this week that feels just by the by, it's also my wedding anniversary. But hey, remember that anyway. Next time you want to be at favour. Just a bit about Colin. He's going to do a presentation rather than being like a panel discussion. But you were born in Bly on the edge of the Black Country, which to me, I've never been, so I don't know anything about the Black Country. Cotton is black. No. Okay. Colin was born there. As a young man, he did a 5-year apprenticeship in building. So he spent 5 years sitting on the slow train to from Bly to Birmingham and back. So he's quite an expert on that particular train line. And just for the quiz fans amongst you, Lyme Railway Station has the shortest name on the British Rail network. So if ever it comes up in question, £1 million question on who wants to be a millionaire, that's the answer. And if it's wrong, you can talk to Colin about it later. Colin retired in 2003 and now lives in Harrogate, which seems a very sensible thing to do.
Absolutely.
To me. And is a best-selling author of short stories. Just as an aside, I see he's got a copy. His mother also wrote her own memoir when she was in her 80s. So perhaps it's the writing as a genetic thing.
I don't think so.
Oh. Would you like to tell me all about it? Or perhaps not.
Another day.
Okay. But today you'll be talking about your book.
That's correct.
Tango Times. So if I can pass over to you, Colin.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Well, Lye is a very small town on the edge of the Black Country, very industrial as it was. Now it's just like everything else in the Black Country. It's gone green. There's little or no industry there, and it's a good place to escape from. And when you get to Harrogate, you're not going to go anywhere else. I've been in Yorkshire now since 1985, and in about another 10, 15 years' time, possibly, I might be considered to be an honorary Yorkshireman. But in the meantime, I had a book in my head for 40 years and started writing it. And I saw the notes outside that Edwin put up saying, the authors and local authors and talking. I said, what about me? And he said, well, what about you? So I said, choose a book. Any book. I've done about, how many? 10 published, self-published books. I must have at least another 10 in my laptop. I'll publish a book. While that's being done, it takes ages to do. I'll write another book, and by the time it comes out, I'm on another book. I've published about 10 books, and there must be at least another 10 books in my laptop. So that this came out about 4 or 5 years ago, and there are some of our books. They're all different. I'm not going to be like that composer who wrote one symphony 9 times. I'm going to write a different book, each and every time. Are there any authors here? Oh, excellent. Published authors. Oh, wonderful. I'm in absolute awe of you, gentlemen. So, I don't know what to say about that. All you know is that I'm here, this is who I am, and this is what I do. And I said to Elvin, choose a book. I'll talk about it for an hour. And he chose this one. Oh, Tango Times. And what he wanted me to do was to, I don't know what he expected me to do, but I know what he wanted to do. I thought, there are 3 elements here that we need to look at. First of all, what the hell is tango? I'm not going to do a history, because I don't know it. Then, from that, you have to get somewhere into a story. And when you've got the story, how are you going to get that to other people to read? So that's the presentation today. So tango origins we've lost it. The tango origins, the first word of tango, researchers always surprised me. They came up with the first tango word, would you believe, was in Cuba about 200 or 300 years ago. Why anybody spends the time looking up a word on every publisher you can get and come up with tango from Cuba, I've no idea. They need to get a life. But tango originated in South America using orchestras that were mainly from African origins. And they introduced jazz. Later in the 19th century, people from Europe came over. The Argentinians and South Americans, they had two or three countries there which are absolutely, how could I say, full of opportunity for development. Fantastic resources, and nobody to actually administer them. So they got people from Europe, and they had people from Spain, Italy, Germany, Austria, France, Wales. In Patagonia, there's a small community that are Welsh-speaking. I have no idea where the English fit in. But anyway, they also took their instruments with them. Now you don't see a man with a load of drums going on an immigration, but they take a clarinet or a violin or whatever they could carry. And the orchestra was based around simple things like the violin, that came from Italy. The guitars, they came from Spain. The bandoneon, which is a great big squeeze box, that came from Germany. They developed the bandoneon for small chapels and churches that couldn't afford a pipe organ. And so there's a big squeeze box, a lot of noise, fill the church. And so these were the basic instruments. Now everybody had a piano. Everybody could play the piano. And so the orchestra see if we can get these. Oh, it's going we're going the wrong way. Here we are. Huh. I'm going around in circles with this. But so the orchestra was developed around 4 or 5 bandoneons, 4 or 5 violins, a piano and a bass. No percussion other than the piano. So what music did they play? It's okay, we'll leave it there. What music did they play? Well, they brought the music with them. They didn't invent the music, they wrote the music. They orchestrated all sorts of things. If it's a good tune, they'll take it. Now, I started dancing about 4 or 5 years ago, and since then I've gone into the music. It's quite disturbing, really, because if you ever told me that I would be dancing tango to Mozart, Eine kleine Nachtmusik, I'd have said, you must be balmy. They also did Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Now, this is way off my chart. I love classical music, but whatever's a good tune, they could do it. And this sort of classic ring has come through to the present day. So they had this opportunity of music, and what dance did they do? Well, it was a variation of the mazurka and polka and these sort of dances. And they evolved around the music. The music was, in fact, basically on common time is 4/4. Any musicians amongst you? 4/4 is common time. Is 1, 2, 3, 4. And everybody plays in 1, 2, 3, 4 time. But they came from Austria, and about 1900, it was the waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, we played that as well. And then they had the strident music of the Germans. Yeah, the Radetzky March. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. They do that as well. And so tango is not one dance, but it's a series of dances. And it turns out to be something, nothing more, nothing less than an interpretation of the music. And this comes about, how can I say, the music is divided. They have one tune, the bandoliers play it, the violins play it, the piano plays it, and every three minutes, that's the end of the song. And about 1900 or thereabouts, tango is developing into a social dance. The men outnumber the women 20 to 1. So there are a lot of young ladies there, but even more men. And this developed in the bordellos. And so the ladies said, I'm here to dance. So it's high heels, fishnet stockings, dresses to behold, the hair swept back, makeup. Here I am, boys, come and get me. But you had a choice. It was a seller's market, it was a buyer's market. Now, which one of the men is she going to choose? So the guys turn up, got a bit of cash in the hand, handmade shoes, pinstripe suits, diamond pin in the tie, a trilby at a rakish angle, his swept back hair, a cigarette, 2 puffs, and he throws it away. I'm here, girls, come and get me, I've got loads of cash. They don't have a monopoly on that lady. They have 3 dancers with her. And if they don't get to a 4th, they like to get a knife in the back. Because there are 19 blokes behind him waiting for a dance as well. Now, these elements have come through to present day. There's a different form, of course. Nobody carries knives. Well, we don't anyway. And then, so the music evolved. Tango was overtaken. The golden age of tango was 1920s to 1940s. And then we got involved with Americans coming over, and we had big bands. The 1950s were taking over rock and roll. The 60s were taking over the Beatles. Then we had 1970s were glam rock. 1980s, tango re-emerges. They've rearranged the music. It is now more acceptable for people to go and dance to. And so you've got the old bands coming through in the golden age, and now it is spread worldwide, and wherever you go in the world, you're going to find a tango festival. You've got one here, an international tango festival at the Crown in November. I think you've got one in Skipton, I think it's in May. So it's come through to the present time. And somebody said to me, you dance tango, write a book about it. How do I get all of that into a book? Well, you don't. That's the simple answer. So everybody who starts tango starts at the bottom. Everybody knows how the difficulties you get and the contact you get with both the people and the music. It's entirely different. The music's different. And it is difficult to do. Next to ballet is probably the most difficult social dance to do. So I'm going to get these elements in. So I thought, what I'm going to do is write a story about a guy who actually goes and starts dancing. Modelled on me to a large extent. In fact, it's modelled everybody. Everybody you speak to has started somewhere dancing. When I went, I was told to go to Miller's Yard in York. 7 o'clock on Tuesday. I went there. the person who invited me never turned up. A guy from the university came, Juan Pereira, postgraduate student, want some cash, teach tango. What had I walked into? I had no idea. So this is the basic idea for the book. So into the story, university, that's great. I'll move it from York University because I know too many people there. So I'll move it to, based on Warwick, University of Warwick, just south of Coventry, Mercia, the old name from Midlands, my neck of the woods. So I know it very well. So who am I going to get to do the dance? Well, I know universities very well. I spent a long time at Cranfield, and I knew the structure and the people. I thought, Jim Staunton, he was the management, he did all these things. I'll use him. And at that time, I just watched Lawrence of Arabia. I did a name for Jim. Oh, Lawrence, that's good. We could do Lawrence. So we did Lawrence. Surname, cunning, devious. Fox. So it became Lawrence Fox. So he was the person, the main person. That was him. But in my books, I started writing under the third person. I don't write in the third person at all. I now write in the first person. I'm absolutely useless at descriptions. I can't tell you the grass is green and the sky is blue. That's not me. Whatever's happening out there, I've no idea. Somebody has to come and tell me. It then becomes a dialogue book. That's good. You get two people you know very, very well. You put them together. They've never met each other. You say something controversial, and you know what the answer is going to be. Instantly. So I then had to locate the confrontation. If you haven't got a confrontation, you haven't got a book. It's as simple as that. So, how this lady who invited me to go tangoing said, I can put her in. So, what is she? Oh, she's an academic snob. Oh, I've got a PhD. Oh, lovely. I've now got a lectureship in medieval history at Warwick University. So my man who looks after the maintenance of the place and the management, he goes to meet all the new people and they go for a sherry reception. And he sees this young lady. She's a good looking girl. He says, oh, I'm Lawrence Fox. He said, oh, I'm pleased to meet you. I'm Karen Black. Black. It's a good name. And so he said, what university did you go to? Well, I left school at 16. I came here to work. Oh, you don't have a degree? Ooh. Put down. But he didn't worry. He had this every time, all the time with these guys. The academics think they run the university. They don't. The management run the university, and they provide the services for the academics. It's the platform. So what happens? Opposites attract. Lawrence likes this girl. Karen likes him. He's no threat. He's easy to get on with. And so they start having casual dates. After a couple of months, Karen's bored. What's she going to do? Oh, there's this guy from Argentina who's doing tango. So, who can I ask? Oh, I can't ask any of my students. Oh, God. Heaven forbid I can't do any of those. So, I can't ask my people in my department. They're either one foot in the grave, or I want their job because I want to get to the top. I want to get the chair. I want to head of the department, maybe dean of the faculty. very ambitious young lady. Who can I ask? Oh, we can ask Lawrence. He's compliant. He can come. So they go to this class and they start tangoing. And guess what? Oh, I can't be in the beginner's class. I've got a PhD. I can't be in the... So she has private lessons and moves to a higher grade. And so they never, Lawrence never dances with Karen. His lesson is from 7 till 8 and hers is from 8 till 9. Anyway, this goes on for several weeks and months. And one day, he meets a second-year student who's in the tango class with him, and he buys her a coffee. Students are always impoverished. They're always looking for a free handout, and a cup of coffee sounds fantastic. So they have this talk, and they say, oh, he says, are you going to the Milonga on Saturday night? What Milonga? Oh, some Argentinians are putting a Milonga on in Stratford. Aren't you going? Well, no. So he says, well, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I said, not a lot. Karen's going off to Durham or Lindisfarne to do a course on medieval history, the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles and Beowulf. Oh. He said, would you take me? He said, so I'll pay you petrol. He said, I'll take you. I'm not doing anything this weekend. We'll go for this tango. So we go down to the tango. He goes and picks this student up. Gone are the stressed jeans. The gone has got the sweatshirt. Out she comes, high heels. She was dressed ready for tango. She got hair up, makeup. She looks absolutely fantastic. Gone to the student and thought, oh. So he gets this girl and he takes her to the student. And he's driving around the car park of this place. He sees Karen's car. What the hell is she doing here? They go in, he meets the Argentinians who are running it. Very nice. And then, would you believe, he decides to have a dance with Karen. Now, dancing in tango terms, you have 3 dances tango, 3 dances valse, 3 dances melody. That's it. You change your partner. The elements of tango historically have come through to the modern day. So he dances 3 dances with this young girl. Karen sees him. He thinks she's deceitful, full of lies. And at this point, we'll start to tell you about where we're going. We have Karen over here and we have Lawrence here. And so he thinks she's lied and is deceit. And what does she think? Well, he's got this other girl here. Jealousy. What the hell's he doing with her? What's he doing with her? Gosh, she's an undergraduate look, and she's dressed up like a tart. Oh, what's he doing with her? So anger. Anger. Now that's not good for a relationship. Any sort of relationship. So she tries to pour oil on troubled water. Dance with me. She's going to get it back in spades. Absolutely. Oh, I can't dance with you. You're far too good for me. I'm only in the beginner's class. So, what is that? Rejection. God, rejection. So, the 2 teachers over here see this. They don't want any confrontation in their dance. They want everybody to be friends. So what are they going to do? The girl comes up to him. I think I've called her Ursula. Ursula, The only Ursula I know was in J.H. Lawrence's Lord of the Rainbow. Remember that one? Yeah. So that's the only Ursula I know. So Ursula comes and says to Lawrence, well, did you know this girl? And he said, yeah, my girlfriend. Did she ask you to dance? He said, yes. Did you say no? He said, yes. In tango, there's a red line. A man can ask a lady to dance, but she can say no. If a lady asks a man to dance, he must accept. He might only have one little whiz round the floor with her, but he really has to accept. I said, well, you know, so it wasn't good enough. And she said, if I asked you, would you dance with me? He then realizes it's the red line that he's crossed. He stands up and he said, may I have this dance? And he leads her onto the floor. Now, there are 3 embraces in tango. First of all, is when you first start, you grab hold of the forearms and you guide them round. Here we go. You get more fun in Sainsbury's with a trolley than you do dancing. And then you have another type where you have the embrace. There's at least 6 inches between you. Heaven forbid there's any body contact. And this is the open embrace. The English people like in the open embrace. Very English, very British. The Argentinian come together in a close embrace. This girl, Argentinian Ursula, she comes and he stands up and he says, she said, hold me. My God, hold her. All the way around. And her arm goes around his shoulders, her cheek rests on his cheek. He seeks for her hand and it's soft and firm. And guess what? It's the damn teacher. We've got body contact. Oh! And the music starts and he has to try and dance. What does he do? He's got the teacher, he's got the dance. Panic, panic, panic. For God's sake, concentrate on the music. Never mind the body contact. Just concentrate on the music. Do what you've learned. Just do it. So they have 3 minutes of perjury for him. She stands back after the 3 minutes and said, can we have another one? They have another 3 minutes. At the end of the 3 minutes, she doesn't release him. They have another 3 minutes for the end of the tanda. At the end of the they stop and they separate, and she puts her hand on his chest and says, this is you. He said, oh, my heart isn't in it. No, my heart's not in this. He said, I'm not talking about your heart, I'm talking about your soul. You were made for tango. Tango was made for you. You must come together. You must come and Carlos and I will teach you. We will teach you tango. This is what you were meant for. And that's got us into the story of the love aspect. In 10 minutes, in 3 dances, he's fallen in love with this girl. Somebody tells him she's married to Carlos, so she's married. This becomes unrequited love. It's despair. You'll never get to this girl. I can't spell despair. You'll never get to this girl. When I started writing this book, I never expected to do this. I thought it'd be left, right, you'd go here, you go there. None of this happened. He got himself into a situation where he's fallen in love with this girl, and that's the oldest story in the world, isn't it? How many people have fallen in love with their teacher? There's nothing new there, is there? So there is something else in tango as well. After you dance for 3 or 4 steps, you come to the end of that passage. It's called a resolution. And it's not the end of the dance. It's just the end of that sequence. So I wrapped all this up into a resolution. It's not the end of the story. Nobody dies. They're all here. They're all alive. They're encased in the book for all time. And then we bring on to the book. I wrote to Barbara. I said, the 2 people on the show, the tango, are Barbara and Ezekiel. They're tremendous guys. They get a tremendous sense of humour. And they're really happy doing these things. And I said to Barbara, I said, can you have some photographs? And she sent 3 photographs over, and I chose one for the cover. Why did he choose that one? It's got a picture of him, and I'll show the picture. I was able to show you on the thing, but I'll show you here. This is Barbara and Ezekiel. What's funny about this is that he's got his arm around her, very passionate. She's got his hand on it. Just now, is she pushing him away? No, it's a joke. She's feeling the size of his wallet. So it is light-hearted. And so she sent me this. So, can you send me a picture? So you sent me this picture. And I framed it. I'm going to ask you a question. How many times have you been to an art gallery and seen a picture that hasn't been framed? I'll ask you another question. How many books have you found in the library here with a frame? And I will tell you, none. So who's different? I am. A picture needs a frame. The frame is part of the picture. So there we are, we're framed. And the book needs a frame as well. How on earth am I going to get Lawrence to tell his story? We got the story, but how do you get into it? And publishers say you have to read the first 2 chapters, and if you don't read the first 2 chapters, it don't work. This is nonsense. How many people get scams on the internet? There they are. How many words do you read? 6, 7, gone. In my book, it has to be 16 words maximum. This is not new. This is old. How many books do you know you recognise by the first line? I'll give you one. You got one? Hmm? The best of times, the worst of times. That's the one I was going to tell you about. Yeah. And what is this? The best of times, the worst times. It's Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities. You've got it in two sentences. You've got the story, and you're hooked. Now, I'll put Lawrence on an aeroplane going from Birmingham to Madrid. Birmingham to Benidorm, Brum-on-Sea, Costa Brum. Yeah, but not to Madrid. He's going to meet somebody. Now, this is not new. This is old. In the 1950s, there was a film, movie, and Ray Milland was on an aeroplane, and he was going somewhere. We didn't know where he was going. And the film was called Golden Earrings. Has anybody seen the film? Well, Ray Milland is on the aeroplane, he's sitting down, and he opens a box, and there are 2 gold earrings. That's the film. He gets the earrings, he puts them in. Now, in the 1940s and 1950s, men wearing earrings, a real no-no. So, what's he doing putting earrings in? Where's he going? You're hooked. You have to watch the film, and the film opens it all out. So, I've now got Lawrence on an aeroplane going to see somebody. You don't know who he's going to see or what he's going to do. And I write in the first person, and it all starts with, in the present tense. He's on the place now. He's going out now. He's going to see somebody now. He looks out the window, sees the blue sky and the clouds, and he goes back to tell the story. And he relates all his story of where he's going. And the story ends when the plane lands. What's going to happen? I don't know. It's not the third person saying, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, and it's all safe and it's all so. This is present tense now and it's happening. And I have to come up here, look. Put in a resolution. The book ends. And what happens at the end of the book? Full stop. I can't do any more. That's my story. It's finished. There's one stage further. I've got the book, I've got the story. I haven't got the book. I've got the story. I write in Word. You know, oh, it squeals on. Take out a book like this, you need, look, pages turn left, right, left, right, left, right. I don't know how many pages there is. I don't know how thick the spine is. I can do everything I like, but I can't design the book. But I know a man who can. So I'll give it to the man who designs the book. Yes, and it's all here, look. It's all here, look. All the pages are all nice. And there's the picture I've got. Yes, all the blurb about me on the back. I then send it to a printer. Now, printers are a strange language. I don't understand, it's like computer speak. They're printer speak. I used to read a magazine, Canal magazine, and I used to give them things, 28 pages or 32 pages, and I gave them all the pages. I said, how are you going to print this? And he said, oh, an offset litho process. What the hell's an offset litho process? I have no idea, but I know next week I'll go and see him. There's my little book. It's 28 pages. That's my little magazine. And I do this month in and month out. So I knew about printers. So I get all the format he wants, said to him, I said, when? And he said, give me a call next Wednesday, next Wednesday. So I give him a call and he tells me, and lo and behold, FedEx comes and knocks on the door, and he said, I've got a box for you here, and this is the very box. And this box has got TJ Books. Take the book, open it up, and guess what? Look, it's my book, my book. All my Christmases have come together. All my birthdays have come together. It's here. It's here forever. I don't have to sell them. It's in the British Library. It's in Edinburgh Library, Belfast, Cardiff, Cambridge, Oxford. I don't have to do anything. It's here. That's my work. That's what I do. I tell stories. I get books printed. And that's me. So, I was going to say to you, if you're foolish enough to want to buy these, I've totally miscalculated on my, shall we say, finance package where I'm going to go with it. I might have to reorder some books. And if you want to buy a book, they're £5 each, and that covers just the cost of printing. End of story. But there's not the end of story. You have to read it yourself to find out what the end of story is. So if you want to buy the books, you're more than welcome to do it. Well, there's an even more fascinating story that I'm surprised about going through your mind. I'm an engineer. I do things. I want to know how it works and why it works and what do I do to get it to work. It's my training, my job. People say, how come you can actually write a book? How come why did you write a book in the first place? So what leads a person to writing a book? Well, in my case, I was an undergraduate at Strathclyde University doing engineering. And being an engineer, that's about as far away from writing a book as you can imagine, because we have no imagination. At that time, I was married to a young lady called Janet Fairchild Cochrane. Her mother was Louise Cochrane. Does it ring any bells? No. Well, I'll come back to Louise in a minute. Her father was a director of Tanner and Bottler in Frood, and they actually printed books. 4 days a week, he spent all his time in London. Publishers, writers, and Janet, when she was growing up, when she was 5 or 6, she used to, W.H. Auden used to go around to see them, and he was Uncle Bertie. She knew all these authors, and she came to York and she did her first class degree, she got her first in English literature. She could devour books. I said to her, "Did you read any Dickens?" I said, "Yes, we did Dickens in 6 weeks." I could do one a year. And I was doing an undergraduate at Strathclyde, and she was doing an MBA at the business school. And one night we were having coffee with Dave Wilkinson and his wife, Ilana Richardson. Ilana's a very talented artist, I mean, really top-class artist. And we were talking over coffee. And Janet's parents father was into books. She knew all these authors and things. She'd done a first-class degree in English literature. And her mother wrote stories, children's stories. They were on the television. She wrote Ragtag and Bobtail. I mean, this is getting terrific. Louise met Peter, her husband, in America. He was in the army during the war, and they were sent out there to actually try and persuade the Americans to come in. And he met Louise in the White House. And she was the personal private secretary to Eleanor Roosevelt. And her father was Christopher Morley. He outsold Steinbeck in the 30s and 40s. He was the most popular author in America. He wrote a book called Kitty Foyle. He made a film. The actress who was Kitty Foyle got the Oscar in 47. As Ginger Rogers. I think he said, and I said to John, well, you got all this background. You know, books. You're surrounded by literature and books. Why don't you write something? She said, I can't think of anything. I said, well, look, you can go anywhere you like. I said, your father's got a croft here in Scotland, and there's development going on that nobody knows anything about. It's all hush-hush. It spells of, I can say, an undercurrent of deceit and people, I mean, they get a contract without tendering for doing this work. It was brown envelope time, wasn't it? And so I explained all this to us. There's deceit and conspiracy and all sorts of things. Why do you write that? And she said, I can't see that. And Dave said to me, Colin, you'll have to write that book. 40 years later I did. And it's called The Building Game. And that's how I came to write books. I went off to do my thing in energy and whatever. And Janet went and do her thing, advising the government on industrial policy. I tried to save the planet on environmental issues, and she became a director of merchant bankers in the City of London. We have no contact. So that was how I came to write a book in the first place. And I don't think I'm elevated to be anything great. I tell stories. I've just told you 2 stories, and I hope I've kept your attention, and that's what I do. I tell stories, lots of them, different stories, and I hope you enjoy reading them. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Colin. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I can just say now that I've read quite a few of Colin's books. In fact, I've got a pile of them. And because I'm a local Yorkshire artist, it's amazing how he can take one of my pictures and he writes a story about it. And I had one called The Divide, which you titled. And it was just a girl looking over the side of the river, and the story comes, and that's what he does to you, Colin. He makes you think about the other side, what could happen, as you see the couple there. You know, it does.
Thank you.
And you do it regularly for me, Colin. Yeah.
So a good partnership then.
Well, I think so.
Very creative. Very creative. Yes. Anybody else got any other questions or comments?
Or comments. I will say about comments. I gave the Tango Times to a guy, and he read it. And he came back and said, "Oh, he said it's full of mistakes." Could he write a book? No. Could he publish a book? No. The whole world's a critic. Who do you listen to get criticism which is going to be useful to you? And that's what I'm saying, is that I listen to critics, but I don't pay a great deal of attention to them. Because this is me, this is what I do, this is how I do it. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy the book.
If you do find a typo,
Everyone?
if you do find a typo or a mistake in your work, with going to the printers, are they all right for you changing it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I'm on Kindle Publishing, so if I find a typo, I can easily just...
All I can say is that if you phone TJ Books in Padstow in Cornwall, they will help you. One of the things that what irritates me, because I work part-time as a volunteer in Starbeck Library, and you can pick the books up, and the paper, it's awful. This paper is what I chose. I talk to the printers, I want this type of paper, I want this size of book, and they do it. If you're going to put more, if you're going to put your name on it, I'm doing this. Remember, it's my book. I'm doing it. You're going to have some tatty in there. You got some rubbish in there. You get somebody. Oh, I can do this better than you because you're only a writer. I'm a publisher. What makes them any better than me?
I have to say, in fairness, because Edwin publishes my books, he's trying to be avoided. It's very collaborative. He suggests, and I say yes or no. So obviously not all publishers are monsters. Some are very affable. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, credit where it's due. It's their business. It's my hobby. If they find a successful platform to work on, and they do it very successfully, they do it for a very, very long time, that's it. Good luck to them. I'm not in competition with them, and they're not in competition with me. I do what I want to do. It's my hobby, and I make a statement. This is what I am and what I do, and if my name's on it, it's what I want, not what anybody else wants. It's what I want. I'm not going to be pushed down a route that I find is not me.
I think you just summed up the beauty of being independent. We have had authors here who have agents and publishers, and wow, it's like a hamster wheel. They have to turn out so many books. They have to do it in this way, and you think, is it worth all the stress? Well, that's true. That's very true. But that's beside the point. Yeah.
Can I do the sales bit now? If anybody's fool enough to give me £5 for one of these, I'll sign it.
Give him £6, he won't. Any others?
Thank you very much.
Anytime. Anyway, thank you very much.